Hello guys and girls. I believe we are live now. I'm not certain. This is my first time ever live streaming, so you have to give me some grace here. I have no idea what I'm doing. Let me just make sure we are live streaming. It does appear so. I hope it's working. If not, I'm just gonna have to go through this. Anyways, we are on Upper Mississippi River Valley. It's March, which means planting season. And we're going to be planting some cotton because that's what we're doing. I'll just give you a little update of our farm here. Farmland, we own all this land, fairly decent amount of land. We've got field 35 that we planted with wheat and 32 that we planted with sunflower. We also have 33 with grass on it. But we have fields 36, 43, 45, and 34 we're going to be planting in today's episode, starting with 36. We're doing cotton on 36, and then we'll do other crops on the other fields, obviously. Not sure what we're doing yet, but that's how it is for now. I do believe this is working. I sound like a noob, because I am. Okay, hopefully that is working. Hello everyone that's here, even those that are not here, that will be watching it later in the live section of my channel, because that's where I'll be putting the live streams after they're done. Anyways, yeah, as I said, I've never live streamed before, so this is exciting and terrifying at the same time. Yeah, hopefully I'm not too jittery and nervous, and here I am, already babbling on. I'm a professional live streamer. That's all it is, really, just rambling on and doing stuff that people enjoy. I will get to showing off our equipment that we have on this farm here, as I haven't shown it yet. This is, if you have seen it, I did a first look on Upper Mississippi River Valley when it came out, and this is the same farm, but I've changed some things up a little bit. I added some farmland as well as some machines to help deal with the farmland that I bought, because when I did the first look, I was just running on new farmer mode with very similar things. I did lease a couple pieces of equipment with the starting 100,000 that you have. But yeah, with this one, I did, so after I did the first look, rather, I added some things just to, yeah, get a good start with the farm. One of them being this Case IH 340 Magnum, which is going to be our workhorse for now. I do have a larger, I have a Steiger 420, I believe. That is obviously much more powerful, but with the equipment that I have, don't really need it yet. It's more of a future-proof thing for this farm. We'll be using that to pull the roller to push the crop in and get us some more yield, because the roller is too heavy for this Magnum to run for now. Eventually, of course, I will be looking forward to upgrading our equipment and using that Steiger, that wheeled Steiger, to yeah, run some more land, some bigger equipment. But as for now, with the amount of land we have and the equipment we have, this Magnum is going to be more than enough, so we're plenty good to stick with it. I am running Precision Farming DLC on the map, as well as weeds are on, crop destruction is on. I don't think I have periodic plowing or field stone on. You can see there are some stones in this field, but that's because they were there when I bought it, so don't have to worry about that. They don't do any damage. But yeah, we'll hopefully be able to get this on a worker soon, and then get into our other fields in order to plant, or to spread lime to get the pH values acceptable for planting. Because as of right now, this is the only field that had lime on it. Other than the fields I've already done, I guess those were taken care of before I did them in the first look video. But yeah, I guess before I get too far into this, I should talk about goals and plans and whatnot. For this series, because yeah, I think it's good to talk about goals and stuff before you get too far into it. Toyful Dog, before I get in that, Toyful Dog asked how long the live stream will last. Currently planning on an hour and a half to 2 hours, just a short live stream, so I can figure out what I'm doing, because I've never done this before, and hopefully, yeah, not have to stay up too late to get it done. But anyways, my goals for this farm, this map, would be not to farm everything, because this is a 4x map, so these fields are significantly larger than regular map sizes, so it would be quite a task to have to farm them all, but certainly to upscale the operation, and as quickly as possible, once we get our feet under us with arable farming, I'd like to move into running pigs and cattle on our farm, as our starting farm location does have both a pig pen and a cattle barn, so that shouldn't be too difficult, and because of those goals, that will affect what I'm planting. So right now I'm planting cotton, which is going to be a cash crop, to help get us money to be able to deal with the cattle and whatnot and all the equipment we have to buy to run that cattle operation. But then for the other fields, we will be looking into some crops that help to feed pigs and cattle as well. For cattle, you need grass as the main thing, and then as well straw, so crops that drop straw swaths. And I do already have oats planted on one field, so we'll get some straw from that, but I would like to have some more, obviously. But yeah, that's just what the first few years are going to be, getting things set up, and then hopefully getting into some more diverse areas of farming. So that's one of the great things about this game. You don't have to stay in one rut. You can expand your opportunities. You don't have to just be an arable farmer or just a crop or a cattle farmer. You can do both. You can also do some forestry, because it's a simulator and it's quite easy to have multiple things running at a time. We're just about done with these headlands here, so we'll get this on a worker and then get some other things sorted out, and I will show the starting farm as well. There we go. This planter is pretty good size. It goes pretty fast, but there is no fertilizer tank. Oops, I missed some, which is my main complaint with it. So I do have to have another tractor with a fertilizer spreader. Here's our wheeled Steiger that I mentioned earlier, as well as a John Deere 4755. That's what we're going to be using for spraying, and I believe we will also pull the gravity wagons with that. Do I still have those? Yes. Pulling the gravity wagons with the 4755 during harvest time, and then we have the 7810, which will be our fertilizer spreader. Yeah, these are the two tractors that come with the map on new farmer mode, so yeah, I didn't want to get rid of them necessarily because they definitely have their uses. Yeah, it's not a bad idea to have smaller farms or smaller tractors on a farm, no matter the size of the farm. There's always small tasks that a small tractor can handle much better than a large tractor. And fertilizing is one of them. No need to have the massive Steiger or the 340 Magnum pull this fertilizer spreader around. It's tiny compared to them, but this little John Deere should do just fine. We'll also get our roller out. We have the Mandaco 5-plex roller. Will be far larger than we need for the smaller fields, but for some of our bigger fields, it should do the trick. Here's our Volvo semi-trailer, or semi-truck and trailer, and then the roller, as well as our direct drill seeder, which we planted oats with last time on the first look episode. So yeah, let's get these doors opened, and then get in the Steiger, and we'll get that roller in the field and start doing that. Hopefully that's not too loud. Did have some difficulties getting the audio set up for streaming. Hopefully the levels are all fine. Oops. Taking my semi for a ride. Okay, let's hopefully not drag that out with us. It's going to be a little rough. Wow, this is not going very well. We're going to have to invest in a bigger barn, I think. It's a good thing we have a solid cash cushion. Okay, hopefully this isn't too big to work around in this field here. If it is, we can just buy a smaller roller for the small fields. But I'm hoping that I can make it work. Alright, let's zoom in a little bit. Does look like it's working, which is great. But yeah, these corners up here are going to be tight with this big old roller. I usually don't roll my fields when I play, just because of how much time it takes, and the yield boost you get is fairly insubstantial, so I don't deem it necessary. Let's just check that. Yeah, so I'm not sure the exact percentage of boost you get, but as of right now, our expected yield here, where we haven't rolled, is 63%, and then where we have rolled is only 64%, so yeah, I don't know exactly how much it is, but it's looking like it's not very much of a boost. But we will do it nonetheless. Looks like our planter's missing some spots. That's no good. Whoa. I think this Steiger is struggling with this roller. Surprisingly enough, this is quite a large machine. Should be able to handle this without too much difficulty. Oops. As for the animals we were talking about earlier, sort of the goals for the farm, I would probably get into cattle first, just because that's a little easier to make money from, in my experience. Doing dairy cattle is a very good way to have a pretty steady flow of cash. all you need is a milk tanker in terms of the equipment to make the money. Now obviously you need mowers and windrowers and whatnot to get the ingredients to feed the cattle, but that'll probably be the easier method of the two, whereas pigs, you have to sell the pigs and wait for them to get fully grown so that they're worth selling. That's a bit more of a long-term solution. And with the amount of land we have, it shouldn't be too long, hopefully not too many years before we get into the cattle. And then the pigs will follow shortly after that. If you guys have any suggestions for what crops to plant or some fields to look into, contracts to do, whatever it is, be sure to leave a comment or a live chat or whatever to let me know. It's a great way for you to leave your little touch on the farm. Leave your mark. As you may have seen, the two tractors I've been using are Case IH, and then the harvester and the other two smaller tractors are John Deere. My reason for that is I don't want to pick a brand of the two. I know they're a little controversial. You know, you just get some people talking about which is better, red tractors or green tractors, and things can get heated, as heated as people talking about tractors can get. So I didn't want to show any favorites here in this farm, so I've gone with some red and some green, and hopefully we can get some blue in there, some New Holland equipment, as well as some other brands. Yeah, I sort of mix it up a little bit. Some farms I'll go all one brand, and others I'll have a plethora of different machines and different brands on the farm. Sort of just depends on my mood when I'm shopping for tractors, I guess. Yeah, that'd be a fair thing for you to leave a comment about too. Which one do you prefer? What's your favorite tractor brand or color, if you don't want to give a specific brand? There we go. Didn't take too long, and our field 35 is already done being rolled. If we check on precision farming, oh, I don't have the soil information. Interesting. Let's buy that. I thought I had that already. Okay. So our nitrogen is pretty good for fields 35 and 36. We do need to fertilize 32, it looks like, maybe a little bit. And then the pH values are, it says bad, but they're pretty close. 6.125 out of 6.75. Those are pretty close to good. But because we've already planted 35 and we're already planting 36, I won't spread lime on those after we've planted. But for the other fields that we haven't done yet, I will certainly spread some lime before we plant those up. But for now, looks like our planter here is about out of seed, so we'll have to go and get some more. Making some good progress in this field. get this thing folded up. It's quite an interesting folding mechanism here. Pretty ingenious that the engineers at Kinsey figured this out. A lot of hydraulics involved in that. A little bumpy. Probably shouldn't be going 33 miles an hour through the field, but as it is a game, you can sort of do what you want. I should have been getting those missed spots on the way back, but I already folded it up, didn't think about it. And of course I left my John Deere in the way. Let's get that out of the way. And I do believe it said the nitrogen levels were good here, so let's just make sure nitrogen levels are okay. I think okay is good enough for this first field. Alright. Very good. I don't know if I have a pressure washer on the farm, so these dirty machines might have to stay dirty for a while. Wouldn't be too hard to check when I get back. Screen appears to be shaking. I'm not sure what that's about. It does that from time to time. I don't know if it's a mod conflict or what. Okay. I don't remember where my seed container is. I believe it's one of these two. I hope it's one of these two anyways. There we go. Let's swing it around and get back in the field. I tell you, this farm, this starting farm is great. It looks, they nailed the rustic look very well, but it is quite annoying that you can't get rid of these decorations here. This looks to be an old abandoned barn that collapsed or was torn down or never got fully built or whatever. But you can't remove it and put your own barn there, which is a little bit annoying because it takes up a lot of precious space. Not much room for improvement in that farm. Advancement. Get this unfolded and swung around. And then we can careful. And we can get in our Steiger and start spreading some line. Once we get this worker hired up here. Here we are. Ah, yes, I was going to roll this field first. This is the field 32. I'm not sure as to the best way to get there. Gonna hit my fence, aren't I? This is only gonna take like 2 passes to get through the whole field. Whoa, it seems to be sliding a little bit. There we go. This might be a little easier to tell. The yield difference looks like 112% up to 115, 118 there. So maybe a 5% yield increase. That's not terrible. Certainly doesn't take much longer to roll these smaller fields. It'll take just over 2 passes to get this field, which shouldn't take much time at all. Just cruise right on through it. One of the things I do appreciate about this map, although it can be a little annoying at times, very annoying at times, is the topography of the map. Here's a good place to show. These little ditches here, that is quite a steep drop-off. And then the fields also have these natural rises and bumps all over them. I'm not sure how well it's being picked up on the stream, but yeah, that just adds a whole sense of realism to a map when you see the tractor bob and weave around on the field instead of just sitting there perfectly straight. See here, we're leaning to the right quite a bit because we're on the bank here, the bank of this hill. I think that really brings a map up in quality quite a bit when you've got a perfectly flat map. Yeah, those can be... Is that a plane? I think I just saw the shadow of a plane on that grass field over there. Perfectly flat maps are definitely advantageous in some areas, but in terms of true realism for me, hilly maps are more enjoyable to play, and that can be annoying, especially when harvesting, because the header will like dig into the bumps a little bit in the game sometimes, and that slows you down. But I think it's a small price to pay for having beautiful maps to play on. Just got a tiny bit left to touch up in this field, and then we can get the lime spreader and start doing that. On our other fields that need planting. As for how often live streams or this map happens to be done, I don't have many opportunities for live streams at all, so yeah, this was just a good opportunity that lined up, so I figured why not do some research into how to live stream, figure some things out, and do a short little live stream today. But yeah, I would prefer to do this map strictly on live stream, maybe some off-camera stuff too, just because I don't have the time to record videos on multiple different maps really, so but yeah, maybe once a month would this be a viable option to work on. So but yeah, it should be fun to spend some time in this map, even though it's not in abundance of time. Okay, I am not sure where to buy lime from. Hopefully it's just the same area here. Doesn't look like it though. Oh, hey, it is. Just had to open the cover. Look at that. Get this filled up. And I will probably do field 43 first, just because it's close. Well, I guess 34 is pretty close too. Probably do field 34, just because it's closer to the actual farmyard. Just realized I didn't put any GPS on this Steiger here. That's a minor inconvenience. With how wild the field's shapes are on this map, GPS wouldn't work as well as it might on other maps, but still it would have been nice to have. I forgot to put it on there. Okay, let's zoom out a little bit. You can really tell how bumpy the fields are in first-person view. It's impressive how hilly and diverse landscape this map is, at least in this section. And yeah, this little dirt trail here off to the right cuts down through, you can just see it over the top of the trees, a little like almost a canyon pass down to the Mississippi River, which is pretty unique. There you can see the cliff walls. It's pretty cool. I haven't seen anything like that in a farming simulator map before. One thing I don't think I'll get into too much on this map is the production chains, which is unfortunate because this map has some custom production chains that you don't find in other maps. I can't think of any specific examples right now. I could check on the map. I think I will. It's just, oh, didn't mean to turn that off. Let's see here. So these are all base game productions. Yeah, it's the Lay's factory. Looks like you drop off some potatoes and probably other things, and you make potato chips. Lay's potato chips. How much is that to buy? 110,000. So yeah. There are a lot of unique things about this map that you could get into. I don't think I will as of now. Maybe if I find that I'm just not really enjoying the cattle very much and the grind that's associated with raising cattle. Or maybe I do cattle for a few years and get some good money out of it and decide I want to expand my horizons even more. Then we could look into some production chains, some factories to buy. But yeah, let's not let our hopes get away from us. We're just starting small. And not very small at that. This is some pretty substantial machinery. We're starting small-ish. That's what we're doing. That is some murky looking water. Wouldn't want to drink any of that. It's a good thing I don't have to. Man, for how small this field looks in comparison to the whole map, it sure is taking a while to get through. That's the joys of farming on a 4x map. It may look small on the map, but it's pretty large in reality. Once we get this headland done, we'll hire a worker here and see how the planter's doing. How it's getting along in that field. Hopefully we'll be getting into some other fields soon. To get those planted up with some different crops. This is the last month to plant cotton, so I figured I'd do that. It's a good cash crop. With a good sized field at least, because those harvesters are not cheap to rent, so yeah, with a big enough field though, it's definitely made worth it, I think. Hopefully those cotton bales are bringing some good cash so that we can get into our cattle operation. But on the other fields, just with the time of year it is, it's March. You can plant a lot of things in March. But you can also plant some things in April. So I'll have to take a look at that. See how the planter's getting along. Oh, very nice. Doing quite nicely here. Let's get this little patch here. Yeah, this field's got some bumpiness to it as well. Let's get it lined up here and then we can check out the crop calendar. There is a custom crop calendar for this map, which basically just extends the harvest season for corn and soybeans, and then extends the planting season of soybeans, so we can plant those even in July, which will be quite late. And the map also does have two unique crop types, alfalfa and clover, which function just like grass to my understanding. You cut them and can turn them into hay and feed your cattle with them. As we've already planted oats, sunflowers, and now cotton, I don't think there's anything else we'll be needing to plant in March, so we can go ahead and move to April once we get this field done and plant some soybeans, another cash crop, as well as corn. And let's see, how many fields do I have left to plant here? We have 34, 43, and 45. So if we put soybeans on 45, potentially on 34 as well. Maybe some grass on 43. We do have another grass field here. But there's good money in grass, especially if we're trying to start some cattle here. Let's see how much we can hold. Squeeze through here. We can hold 500 head of cattle. That is quite a bit. We do have some fermenting silos, I believe, yes. You put in... and a grain dryer, interesting. Yep, you put in the hay, and out comes, hay, alfalfa, clover, corn silage even. And out comes silage. And you can turn in to get some forage as well, looks like. It's interesting stuff. Alright, I think we can get to fertilizing now, if we need it. Nitrogen. I'll try on field 32. If I remember correctly, sunflowers don't need very much nitrogen, so even though it's orange, that might be enough. Shouldn't be too difficult to tell though. Just drive on the field and it'll tell me if I've reached the target values yet. It does want a bit more. Okay, we can give it a bit more. And then we'll see about that field that we're planting, 36. See if our cotton needs any more fertilizer. And if it does, we can head right on over there and start spreading. With the cattle that we'll eventually be getting into, I would like to spread slurry and manure on the fields instead of just solid fertilizer, because even though solid fertilizer is the cheapest and most effective method, it's always fun to do something different every once in a while. So yeah, I'd definitely be interested in doing some slurry spreading, manure spreading, that type of thing. Once we've got some cattle. Don't go in the ditch. That would be a disaster. Expensive mistake. Okay, I can probably go with the shorter spread size, just because we've got just this little sliver here. I suppose I should check on our planter here. Did say it was done, but it's doing what workers do, thinking it's done before it's done. I'll tell you when you're done, sir. There we go. Okay. Can go even more narrow because it's a smaller sliver up here. There we have it. Let's get this back to the full spread, and then we'll move up to our cotton field and see if that needs any fertilizer on it. I'll check on my lime spreader too. Yeah, that's the problem with precision farming DLC. It leaves tons of little patches here in the lime. You can turn it on, but it doesn't spread because it thinks it's done. It thinks it's at the target value. It's not that big of a deal, but it is a bit annoying. I want my fields to be pristine. As long as they yield well, they don't need to look pretty. That's how I get through that. I'll probably head over here to this left side. And we'll get some... Yeah, we'll empty the tank. And then we'll have to go get some more. Those of you who are joining partway through the stream, this is Upper Mississippi River Valley, and we are doing some spring seeding here, planting some crops to get our farm set up for harvest in a few months. Currently planting cotton. We've already planted oats and sunflower. And once we get that cotton field done, we'll be heading into April to plant some soybeans as well as some corn and potentially sorghum as well. But maybe grass, haven't decided yet. If you guys have any suggestions, you can leave them in chat. It's just a race against time though. How soon can we get the crops in the ground and move on to the next month? $610. I don't know what these workers think they should be getting paid, but that's a steep hourly rate. Goodness. I wish I could make $610 an hour. Let's get that filled up. Very good. Just about done spreading lime on this field here. Certainly over halfway, I imagine. And the yield boost you get from this is quite substantial. Expected yield is 123% with lime. Without lime, it's only 116%. So you're getting 7% more just by spreading lime, and lime is pretty cheap, all things considered. And that was with the pH values being good beforehand. If the pH values are bad beforehand, you're missing out on like 20% yield, which is quite a big amount. And especially early game, it makes sense to put down the lime, get that extra 7% yield. Just with how difficult making money is in the game. Once I get this section here done, put it on a worker over there, and then we'll go fix the worker in the cotton field, because I don't think he's done, but he thinks he's done, so we'll have to go and talk that out. Just one of those things dealing with farming simulator workers. They don't know when they're done. Sometimes they're done way before the field is done, and sometimes they just keep on going and work in the neighbor's field. Let's get this guy hired on a worker. Going at an angle. That's interesting. And now I'm missing stuff. That's no good. Alright, that should do it. We might have to fill this planter up again before we can get this field done, unfortunately. Head up and get this last bit here too. You may have noticed that there is no music playing. I do apologize for that. Just didn't have time. This is sort of a spur of the moment thing. I just figured it'd be a good idea to figure out how to live stream today. So, yeah, I didn't really have time to find some good music to play. Hopefully it's not that big of a deal. We'll just listen to the music of these diesel engines purring in the field. Music to my ears, at least. So close. I think we are going to make it through the field before we have to fill up the seeder or planter. Yeah, and then we'll be moving into April. Yeah, we'll definitely have enough seed left in the planter to get this done. Just a tiny little bit left. I am just going to leave these rocks here. They're annoying, but not annoying enough for me to buy a rock picker and go through this whole field. That would take ages. Those rock pickers are really small. Hopefully the roller can push them down a little bit. At least the small ones anyways. Alright. And then we'll put some... we'll do corn first next month actually. And I might have the Steiger run the planter next month. And have this Magnum run the direct drill seeder, so we can do 2 fields at the same time. Hopefully that isn't too much for me to handle. We'll get the planter put away and then get this Magnum here on the lime spreader and have the Steiger grab the roller again and roll up field 36 that we just planted with cotton. To get that nice little boost of yield. And hopefully, yeah, to push those stones down there a little bit. On we go. Let's just wait here. Yeah, this Steiger's definitely a bit of overkill for this lime spreader, but it's better to have overkill than underkill, for sure. Especially on these hilly fields. This Magnum might struggle with the weight of this lime spreader, but the Steiger handles it like a dream. Just chugging right along. Let's just leave that there. There it goes. Let's get this roller attached. I really do like the abandoned machines around the farm. But again, you can't get rid of them. They're stuck there. Which isn't annoying now, but it could be in the future if I wanted to expand or do something with that area. But for now, we're just trying to farm. Nothing special about it. Alright, what's the best way to get this thing turned around? Just back it up in here. Getting airborne a little bit, that's scary. Man, look at my gravity wagons. This roller is nice in the field, but it is a bear to move around in tight spaces. I'm gonna hit my fence again. Bonk. And the sign here. Man, this is terrible. I'm probably going to take out that stop sign, aren't I? That was close. Yeah, and it's pretty tight here with these tiny little driveways they've got on these fields. It's not much room at all. Not excited for harvest season when I gotta get a combine through that little area. Let's just get this little corner here done in reverse. Sort of. Kind of. Good enough. Doesn't look like this roller is pushing those rocks down at all, which is a bummer. It's not that big of a deal, but I was kind of hoping it would tidy up the field a bit. Oh, never mind. It is pushing down the little ones, at least. Maybe. Maybe not. What do I know? $12 miles an hour. Doesn't seem too fast, but in real life that is absolutely flying with the roller on the back. It's a good thing this isn't real life, because otherwise I'd be swerving all over the field with the weight of this roller going 12 miles an hour behind me. But as it is, it's just a minor pull on the back of that Steiger. Let's get that lime spreader here. This Case IH Magnum sure is nice. Steering's a little touchy though. But other than that, it's very nice. It is a mod. Which one is it? Case IH Magnum AFS US/EU series. That is quite a mouthful. I believe this was custom modding. I'm not certain on that, so don't quote me. Yeah, this looks better. That Steiger was massive for this. Lime spreader. This is a better package. For what it's worth, it's only going to take me like 2 minutes to get this field done. Man, wouldn't it just be awkward if I didn't have the audio right this whole time and you guys were just sitting there watching me farm without me talking at all? Or vice versa. You're just hearing me talk and can't hear the farming. I'm just gonna hope I did it right. And I'll feel pretty dumb if I didn't later on. There we go, we've spread all the lime for this field. We'll move on to field 43 now. Just killing time until that roller here is done on field 36 where we planted cotton, so I might as well fill up on lime if I'm going through the farmland, the farmyard. So we'll do that. Here's our grain dryer. I was wondering where that was. So that's where we'll store our crops. When the time comes to harvest. Oh man, I am all over the place. I won't fill it up. It's gonna take too much time. I don't have the patience for that right now. Alright, 43 is pretty small, so this shouldn't take too long. I really ought to get course play on this so I can just set these things up. Man, that's a tall steeple. Wow. I have to go pay that church a visit later on. Yeah, this field will just be a headland or two and then a few passes back and forth and we'll already be done with it. It's the best kind of field. Short and sweet. And this pH values were pretty good before. It's not having to put too much over the top, just sprinkling a little bit on there, so hopefully this one tank will go pretty far. Of course, right as I say that, it starts to double the amount it was putting on the field. Go figure. Pretty bumpy in first person. but it is enjoyable to try and line things up in first person. Bit of a nuisance sometimes, but yeah, I think it's a little bumpy to be in there, so I'm just gonna stay out. This field is a little larger than I originally thought. It's gonna be more than just a few passes here and there, but still it shouldn't be too much. We'll remove this worker here, just so we can do a headland down along the curvy end of the field that follows the creek. Ooh, turned a little too sharp there. That would be quite the experience to be in the cab for that, when the front end picks up like that. Quite the experience indeed. This field shouldn't take too much longer. I say that and it'll still probably take a good 20 minutes, but in the grand scheme of things, 20 minutes for one field is not too much time. Man, I keep turning too sharp and picking up the front of the tractor. We'll hopefully get the 7810 in here to spread some fertilizer once we get this headland done. And we can get this Steiger here on a worker pulling this roller. There's our Magnum off in the distance, spread in line. Precision farming DLC is certainly a bit of a nuisance sometimes. What with all the responsibilities and extra things you gotta deal with, but it is nice in other places, certainly. The spot and spray with the weeders, or the sprayers, that saves you a lot of herbicide. And yeah, it just adds a little bit of a realism factor, and I think it makes the game a bit more enjoyable. Sometimes, that is. You know, sometimes you don't want to have to deal with pH values and nitrogen levels. You just want to farm. And that's understandable. Oh man, the 7810 was on that whole time. Just racking up the hours. It's only got 1.4. I think we'll be okay. I guess I should check here. Jump over the creek, see if it even needs nitrogen. Yeah, nitrogen level is bad. Let's make that good, or even perfect. If it even needs any more, we'll just have to see. Do you need fertilized? You don't? Okay. Yeah, it looks like it's been over-fertilized, unfortunately. Yeah. That's a shame. So that'll affect our yield a little bit. I don't think it's too bad. Yeah, just a 3% drop in yield potential. 2 to 3% drop, so it's not a super big deal, but obviously we want our yields to be as high as we can possibly get them, because that means you make the most money that you can possibly make. And we'll get there, but as this is the first time we're working in these fields, it's always a bit dicey, that first planting season. You've got the wacky nitrogen and pH values to deal with. Yeah. But once you've worked the fields for a few years and things have settled in, it gets a lot easier, a lot better. Then you're like a well-oiled machine. We won't be a well-oiled machine for some time. Let's just get this put away. Right next to our 4755. Our spraying, a beast of a sprayer. Look at that. Alrighty. This one's almost out. I'll just empty it real quick on the field and then we'll get some more lime in there and finish up this field. We're getting close to moving on to next month. The checklist of things we gotta do is basically just finish rolling field 36 that had the cotton in there, and we've got a worker doing that right now for us. And so the other optional stuff we're doing is putting lime on the fields that need it before planting season, which is now, but obviously it's March and you can't plant everything in March, so we're going to move into April where we can plant some soybeans and corn, some good cash crops, as well as potentially some sorghum, maybe some oats. Can you still plant oats? Let me see. Yes, potentially some more oats. To get some straw so we can have some bedding for our cattle that we're going to buy here before too long. Probably not for a few months, but I'm hoping that by harvest time we've got at least some cattle that we can start taking care of. There is the empty tank of lime, so we're going to go and fill that up. Don't need to fill it all the way, but I probably will, just because. And then once we're done in 43, if this worker here is still not done with the field, then we'll just move right on into 45 and get that limed up. And I will probably not be doing much more rolling, just because it's taking such a long time. Certainly, rolling is not a bad thing to do if you have the extra time for it. And right now, it's fine because I'm spreading lime still, so I'm doing something productive with the time I'm waiting. But next season, or next month rather, all we have to do is plant the fields and then we're done. So having to wait on rolling the fields doesn't seem like a very good idea to me, but who knows? We'll see what happens. There's another $4,200 down the drain. But it's all investments. That money will pay back tenfold. Because of that boost in yield we're getting from the lime. We'll see. Bigger profits. That's the goal anyways. We'll see if it pans out. I am excited for harvest time though. It's going to be quite the bustle of activity around here. Let's see, how many fields do we have? 6 it looks like, plus the grass field, is that right? Would appear so. And those won't be all ready at the same time. But there will be 3 or 4 fields ready in the same month, so that's going to be the rush, as harvest time always is. It's great. I could do alfalfa or clover, I guess. Those are 2 unique crop types. Could do that on one of our fields. Don't necessarily have a pertinent need for it now, but yeah, with cattle you need hay to feed them, and that's what alfalfa and clover do. So I might look into that. Checking out the new crop types we've got. I guess I should look and see when you plant those. Oh, yeah, those are long seasons. Wow. It says I'm missing a dot here, so we'll see what it wants to do. There we go. Another field down. Which leaves just one more field to spread lime on, which is 45. Is there an exit down here? It doesn't look like it. Ooh, yeah, we'll go by that church with the really tall steeple. We'll have a look around there. That's just me getting distracted, but I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully it's interesting. It's a good looking church from a distance. Yeah, DJ Modding did a good job with this map. A very good job. I can see why it's a well received map in several farm sims. I believe it's as old as 17, maybe even older. Farm Sim 17. Alright, I'm not going to pull the tractor in there, just because that seems a little too tight. We'll put on the hazards and have a look. Ah, stained glass, very cool. Wow, that is very detailed. Is it a different? No, it's the same picture. It is flipped though, at least. That's interesting. It's mirrored a little bit. Yeah, this is quite the idyllic little church here. I guess it's not very little, but yeah. Quite the tall steeple. That is monstrous. Can you own this land? That's a good question. You can. For the small price of $3 million. I think it'd be interesting to put like a wind turbine like right here and see how tall that steeple is compared to a wind turbine, but that is a question for another day. Where is the entrance into this field? Is it all the way over there? Go figure. I gotta go all the way around this field just to get into it and spread some lime. That's a very hilly field. Which one is that? 48. Wow. Something tells me the old harvester might struggle up there. Ooh, it's got a gate too. Interesting. Interesting. There's that plane shadow again. Can you see it flying up there? Oh, there it is. Wow. I didn't know there were planes in this map. There it goes. Yeah, those should be out of the way. What are we looking like? pH value is okay. Well, let's make it perfect. How about it? Get this unfolded and we'll get going. Ooh, actually. Worker E thinks he's done. Is he done? He might be. Let's have a look at your handiwork, sir. Nope. You thought you were done. But there's still a little bit left. Silly goose. That's alright, I'll just finish this up manually. Then we can move right into April. Two more passes. I don't remember if there's a sleep trigger anywhere on this farm. I might have to add one in. I've got some cash, so I could put a pretty cool farmhouse down if I wanted to. But something tells me there might be a more responsible use of my money than buying a flashy house, so yeah, we'll just have to see. Good looking tractor though. I've got the wide tires on it, the 3-meter spacing or whatever. I don't think I've ever run that on a tractor before. But it doesn't look too bad. Man, this roller is dirty. It's a shame I don't have a pressure washer to clean it off. Might have to look into that at some point. Man, this roller's heavy. I was on the brakes. Oh. There goes the stop sign. He lived a good long life. Until I killed him. What was I saying? I don't know, I lost my train of thought. Guess that's what murdering yard signs does to you. Alright, I'm just gonna park this thing in this grass here. We'll get this Steiger put away in our barn here. Close the door up. And yeah, I don't think it's that big of a deal if we leave the Magnum out in the field. Okay, let's see. Is there a sleep trigger anywhere? Doesn't look like it. Let's add one in. Go over to farmhouses. Alright, we do have a house, but there's no trigger. This would fit in pretty well with all the abandoned stuff here. I like it. Yeah, that looks like it belongs. Let's put it right like that. Very good. Yeah, that fits right in. Look at that. It's floating a little bit. Don't look at that, guys. Pay no attention to the floatingness. Here we come, April. The typical monthly expenditures, not too bad. Let's have a look at these crops. Sunflowers are looking good. Looks like we might have some weeds growing here in 35. Good looking oats though. Do have a bit of a weed problem. Let's check on the cotton. Hup. Hup. Good thing I'm an athlete and can just jump those ditches there. Man, that is a beautiful sight. All these perfect rows. Let's get the Magnum going here. We'll do our customary headlands and then get a worker going while we sort out the Steiger with the planter and get something planted. Excuse me. Those weeds popped up awful quick. All I did was sleep one night and now my fields are covered in a forest of green, a carpet of green. Make sure you guys let me know how the audio levels are doing. Again, this is my first time live streaming, so I really appreciate your input. And I am aware that there is no music. I didn't have time to get that set up, but Hopefully I can get around to that next time. Any questions about mods? Any suggestions? Anything? It's greatly appreciated. I do enjoy answering the questions about mods that I get. But hey, if you got no questions, then it's easier for me, I guess. Nothing I gotta think on or consider. Once we turn this corner here, we'll get a worker going. And then we can get in the Steiger and start planting some corn. Just over half a tank left here too, so I don't think it's going to get through the whole field before it's empty. It's a bit of a shame. Let's fire up the beast. Try not to take down our barn. No promises. Yeah, I should fill this up. I can't seem to get this cover open. Well, that's unfortunate. How do I open it? The buttons aren't working. I'm guessing that's a mod conflict. I'll have to hook up one of the John Deeres and see if that can do it. Let's just get this out of the way here. Just drop off the fertilizer spreader there. Yep, that's what it was. Let's get this a little closer. I'm guessing that Steiger's got some button for the same button as opening the cover on the seeder, so it just didn't want to open it up, but that's okay, we got it figured out. Alright, where shall I plant corn? Let's start with soybeans. We'll do that on field 34 up here. Because I'll do corn on 45 where we're doing the lime right now, so. We'll just have to wait till that's done. Are these all weeds? That is a thick carpet. I didn't plant anything here, did I? Grass. Who planted grass here? Well, that is unexpected. I never planted grass. Let's see if it'll be able to, if I can just plant right over it. I'm guessing I'll have to. Yeah. That's bizarre. It doesn't even show up as having grass on it. Like these two fields up here do. Interesting. Well, I'll have to go and get something to take care of that. Probably just do a disc harrow or something. Should be the fastest option. Whoa, what's going on here? My screen is frozen. It's very interesting. There we go. Alright, what can it handle? That's only 70,000. Let's just go ahead and buy it. And this will give me a good chance to... Hang on a second, something weird's going on. I don't know what's happening with my brightness. Apologize for this interruption here. I don't know what's happened. That is bizarre. I could just be imagining it too. Alright, let's get this down to the store. This will give me a good chance to show off the canyon run I was talking about earlier. As you can see, here's the sign for steep terrain. It's quite impressive. This canyon run here. It's pretty cool. It's very unique too. I haven't seen this in another farming simulator map before. This aggressive topography, terrain. My graphics seem to have just hit a brick wall. For whatever reason. I apologize for that. I'll have to look into that after the stream. Yeah, you can see the muddy Mississippi water here on the right. And then right in front of us, you'll see the big Mississippi. And I think I'm turning right, yes. There it is. The river for which the map got its namesake. The muddy Mississippi. Let's throw on the blinkers too. Yeah, and here we can show off the industrial section of the town here. Might get a bit noisy. Totally just destroyed that fire hydrant. That is some murky looking water. I don't want to swim in that. Alright, where is the store? Turn left at the streetlights. That's something I haven't seen in a farming simulator map before either. Streetlights. Now, unfortunately, they are on the wrong side of the intersection. The street light for your way is supposed to be across the street, because if I stop here, I can't see the light. It's supposed to be up across the intersection from me. But that's just the minor details, right? Just minor details, not that important. One thing I guess I should say as well, this dealership here has some demo vehicles. You can get in these and drive them around. You don't own them, but they are demo vehicles, so yeah, if you're playing on the map and you ever need an extra helping hand, just pop on over to the shop and any one of these 5 John Deeres here you can use. I think that's a pretty cool feature. Certainly would be handy in a pinch. You got an extra 2 harvesters here. Granted, they don't come with harvester heads, but again, minor details, minor details. Here's the train. I haven't seen that before. That moves on at a good pace, doesn't it? Looks like these safety things stay down quite a bit longer than they should. Just try not to hit it with my disc harrow. This is a very good looking town. A lot of detail went into this, I could tell. And for good measure too, it's a beautiful town. But just from the emblems on the sides of the buildings, it's pretty clear why this map isn't on Mod Hub. Giant Software would have a heck of a time trying to get Wendy's to have their sign in Giant's endorsed video game. But that's the beauty of having a third-party mod hub, is you can get brands that Giants doesn't have the copyright licensing for, and companies and whatnot. I think that helps the game have a stronger playability. If you want to play with a certain brand, whether it be Ford or Dodge, whatever, that the game doesn't have licensing to, you just hop on your third-party website and download a mod for it, and boom, you can use it. It's definitely one of the best features of Farming Simulator. Alright, this is a narrow bridge, so we're going to have to let this guy pass. And back up the canyon run. We'll see if the Steiger struggles at all pulling this disc harrow up. It seems to be pretty light, so we shouldn't have too much of an issue, but it is pretty steep. And bumpy too, wow. Let's see how slow we get going. This is the steepest part by far. Oh wow, what a champion. Only 20 miles an hour. The John Deere 7810, pulling the 3 gravity wagons I've got on the farm. They were empty, mind you. It was doing like 2 miles an hour this whole hill. That took forever. And they weren't even loaded. Imagine if they were loaded, it would die. Alright, we're finally back on the farm here. Well, just about anyways. And we'll get this disc harrow and do some grass next time. We're gonna till up this grass here so we can plant some good crops next time. But for now, I think that's pretty good for the first live stream. Just a bit of a recap. We did plant field 36 with cotton. We rolled field 35, 32, and 36, as well as spread lime on 34, 43, and a fair bit of 45. If you enjoyed this live stream, be sure to leave a like. Lets me know you guys appreciated it. And yeah, if you've got any suggestions or anything, leave a comment. I'll definitely consider those suggestions. And yeah, for next time, might be, yeah, who knows, I might do a video on this. We might just be tearing up the field next time, tearing up this grass here. But yeah, that's all I've got for now, so thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you next time. Peace.